Mishpakan Havarim. I'm only on take 2. Praise Abba. Okay, we're going to read Jonah today, but before we do, let's bow our hearts. We come before you, Father, to praise you and to worship you and to thank you for absolutely everything you bring to us from all our senses, from all directions. Thank you for having us appreciate you in our lives and understand you are in our lives. You're actually in us. Dear Father, you make me cry all the time. There's something about water that's healing. We're going to read Jonah today. Please open up our hearts to understand you, our ears to hear you, and our eyes to see that which you put before us, for our learning, for our food. Thank you for each other, Father, and bringing us together to learn. Thank you for giving us an interest. Thank you for being with us every day, in our sleep and in our wake. Thank you for bringing us together for this reading of Jonah. Please let it be a better heart to all that hear. Through Yeshua I pray, Father, in Yahweh. Yahweh my Kodesh Elohim, Yahweh Echad. Amen. Thank you, Father. Okay. Jonah. See, I just moved my camera, sorry. Part 1. And the word of Yahweh came to Jonah of Amittai, saying, Arise, go to Nineveh, the great city, and cry out against it, for the evils have come up before me. But Jonah rose up to flee to Tarshish from the presence of Yahweh, and went down to Yaffo, and found a ship going to Tarshish, and he paid the fare, and went down into it, to go with them to Tarshish from the presence of Yahweh. And Yahweh sent out a great wind on the sea, and there was a great storm on the sea, so that the ship was thought to be broken up, and the seamen were afraid, and each one cried out to his mighty one, and threw the cargo which was in the ship into the sea to lighten the load. But Jonah had gone down into the lowest parts of the ship, and he lay down and was fast asleep. Never mind. And the captain came to him and said to him, What do you mean, sleeper? Arise, cry out to your Elohim, if so be that Elohim shall think about us, so that we do not perish. And they said to each other, Come, and let us cast lots, so that we know for whose sake this evil has come upon us. So they cast lots, and the lot fell on Jonah. So they said to him, Please explain to us, for whose sake is this evil upon us? What is your occupation, and where do you come from? What is your country, and from what people are you? And he said to them, I am an Ibri, and I revere Yahweh, the Elohim of the Shamayim, who made the sea and the dry land. And the sea and the men were exceedingly afraid, and said to him, Why have you done this? For the men knew that he fled from the presence of Yahweh, for he had informed them. And they said to him, What are we to do with you to make the sea calm for us? For the sea was growing more stormy. And he said to them, Take me and throw me into the sea, so that the sea becomes calm for you. Oh, my eyes. Sorry, my eyes keep blaring, people, for you. For I know that this storm is because of me. However, the men rowed hard to bring the ship to land, but were unable, for the sea continued to grow more stormy against them. And they cried out to Yahweh and said, We pray, O Yahweh, please let us not perish for this man's life, and do not lay on us innocent blood, for you, O Yahweh, have done as it pleased you. Then they took Jonah and threw him into the sea, and the sea stopped raging. And the men revered Yahweh exceedingly, and brought an offering to Yahweh, and made vows. But Yahweh appointed a great fish to swallow Jonah. And Jonah was in the stomach of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. Part 2. And Jonah prayed to Yahweh his Elohim from the stomach of the fish, and he said, I called to Yahweh because of my distress, and he answered me. From the stomach of the grave I cried, and you heard my voice. For you threw me into the deep, into the heart of the seas, and the floods surrounded me. All your breakers and your waves passed over me. So I said, I have been driven away from your eyes. Would I ever look again toward your Kodesh Haikal? Waters encompassed me unto life. The deep closed around me. Weeds were wrapped around my head. I went down to the base of the mountains. The earth with its bars were behind me forever. But you brought up my life from the pit, O Yahweh of my Elohim, when my life fainted within me. I remembered Yahweh, and my prayer went up to you into your Kodesh Haikal. Those observing false worthlessness forsake their own kindness, but I offer to you with the voice of thanksgiving. I pay what I have vowed. Deliverance is of Yahweh. Then Yahweh spoke to the fish, and it vomited Jonah on the dry land. Part 3. And the word of Yahweh came to Jonah the second time, saying, Arise, go to Nineveh, the great city, and proclaim to it the message that I am speaking to you. And Jonah arose and went to Nineveh, according to the word of Yahweh. Now Nineveh was a great city before Elohim of 3 days' journey. 3 days' journey. And Jonah began to go into the city on the first day's walk. And he cried out and said, Yet 40 days, and Nineveh shall be overthrown. And the men of Nineveh believed in Elohim, and proclaim a fast, and put on sackcloth from the greatest to the least of them. And the word reached the sovereign of Nineveh. So he arose from his throne, and took off his robe, and covered himself with sackcloth, and sat in ashes. And he proclaimed and said throughout Nineveh, By decree of the sovereign and his nobles, no man or beast, herd or flock shall taste whatever. Let them not eat, let them not even drink water. But let man and beast be covered with sackcloth, and call mightily to Elohim, and let each one turn from his evil way, and from the violence that is in his hands. Who knows whether Elohim turns and relents, and shall turn away from the heat of his displeasure, so that we do not perish? And Elohim saw their works, that they turned from their evil way, and Elohim relented from the evil which he had said he would do to them, and he did not do it. Part 4. But it greatly displeased Jonah, and he was grieved. And he prayed to Yahweh, and he said, Please, Yahweh, was this not what I said while I was in my own land? This is why I went ahead and fled to Tarshish, for I know that you are an Eo, showing favour and compassionate, patient and of great kindness, and relenting from doing evil. And now, O Yahweh, please take my life from me, for it is better for me to die than to live. And Yahweh said, Are you right to be displeased? Then Jonah went out of the city and sat on the east side of the city, on the east side, wow, and made himself a shelter there, and sat under it in the shade, to see what would become of the city. And Yahweh Elohim appointed a plant and made it come up over Jonah to be a shade for his head to deliver him from his discomfort. And Jonah greatly rejoiced over the plant. But as morning dawned the next day, Elohim appointed a worm, which attacked the plant so that it withered. And it came to be, when the sun came up, that Elohim appointed a scorching east wind. And the sun smote on Jonah's head, so that he grew faint, and asked for his life to die, and said, It is better for me to die than to live. And Elohim said to Jonah, Have you rightly become displeased over the plant? And he said, I have rightly become displeased even to death. And Jonah said, and Yahweh said, You felt sorry for the plant for which you have not laboured, nor made it grow, which came up in a night, and perished in a night. And should I not pardon Nineveh, the great city in which are more than 120,000 beings, who have not known their right hand from their left, and much cattle? Amen. Yahweh is compassionate to all and knows our limits. He knows our boundaries. He knows how far we can go, how far to push us, how far to take us. Okay. I'm going to say a few things. I've been thinking a lot about water lately. This started March probably. Started getting my notes together on the 27th of this month, April. I wasn't really sure what to do with them or say, but it's turned into something, so I'm going to read it to you. We're talking about the water, and the water, the blood, the flow, is the vibration. Water comes up everywhere in my mind. It's everywhere I look when I'm a gardener. I water in the morning and I water in the evening. I clear things of water. I think about water an awful lot. Then we go home and get in the water and bathe ourselves. Anyway, thoughts. We delivered from a sack of water at 9 months birth. And then another thought. We delivered through the water and blood of Yeshua, shed for us. It's Yahweh's salvation. Another thought. Moses was delivered through parted waters, subsiding, giving them a path for a time. Okay, so Noah was delivered via the ark through the flood cleansing period. Big cleansing period for this planet. Yireh Yahweh. Jonah, was held in a whale for 3 days, like a womb in the sea, a holding cell for change. And then he was spat out. It's like a birth, isn't it? Another kind of extra birth he had. Anyway, Yeshua stood on a fishing boat to address the people. Now the boat was on the water and it supported and separated him from the people. Okay. There's something cleansing and healing about water, is what's inside of me. And everything has water inside of them. Hang on, let me not get sidetracked. Yeshua HaMashiach, praise Yahweh, ascended through the clouds, and clouds bring forth water to cleanse the air and earth, to refresh and renew. Another thought, the earth is like a womb, and we're going to be born from that womb to the next life. That's 2 wombs, 2 births, or maybe 3, because Yahweh knows the outcome before we know the outcome in his consciousness. because this is a rerun. Okay, so this is a rerun, a wake-up call. We're always creation, and we all have a chance, thanks to the chosen ones of old, who wouldn't obey their father, their dear Abba, and didn't recognise their Adon, even right before their eyes. That must have been so sad. Dear Yeshua HaMashiach. So another thought, info travels through DNA, a bit like water. DNA is like our program, and water's like the stream. The stream is a river of generations through time. Our time. Yahweh doesn't live in time, he lives outside of time. This is like a clock for us, isn't it? Okay, so another thought, water in a river breaks apart its H2O, hydrogen and oxygen. This H2O is a molecule, makes us see the water. That's what water is. It's different if you take the H2O apart, breaking. So the molecules are breaking and regrouping over and over again as it progresses along the channel, along the path it takes, the way. Wow. Breaking its banks, running to a trickle, then gushing again. Does all sorts of things. Things fall in and change the shape, break. The waters break the sides, and then they build up again as other streams come to the water and bring the earth down from the sides of the mountain and fill up the sides of the bank again, and the roots keep it where it is. Oh my goodness me, there's so much just in a river itself. Anyway, like we have to break and we have to heal to produce the unseen health from inside that's available to us if we accept our Adon. No, anyway. Another thought, ions are O2 and released into the spray of a waterfall or from an ocean wave, the spray on an ocean wave, the spray of a mountain mist, I'm sure. Even in the spray of a hose pipe, you probably get ions released because the water breaks on the spray. Anyway, small or large negative electrons which heal. That's what you're producing in the air. They give us more energy and vitality, and we think clearer and feel happier, as I witnessed when I lived in the Himalayas for a while, a few years ago. Anyway, I was always near waterfalls or spray of some form. I stood in mountain mists, and amazing. Feels like you've had a pep pill, if there is such a thing. Anyway, pep you up pill. So Jonah, he fled from Yahweh's instruction because he didn't want to obey, disliking God for loving his enemy like a naughty child. He encountered much turbulence in that period, and his times, they were turbulent to say the least. I won't say that because it's all in the chapter, what his times were really like. You make that for yourself. Then he repented and obeyed on the second calling. The people did listen to Yahweh, taking into account their Yahweh forgave them, taking into account their disposition. The disposition of, well, Jonah was meant to be listening. He was a chosen one. He was a prophet, but the people were just people of the town. So there is a disposition in our different positions in life. Anyway, I hope you understand that. Jonah didn't agree, displeased with Yahweh again, not a happy man. Our Father made it clear to Jonah who is the boss. Anyway, I'd like to say this is a story full of people choosing to do the unexpected. That's the main point here. The message to me is kind of like, who are we to judge? Look at Jacob, James, chapter 2, part 4 and 13, and chapter 4, part 12. Who are we to judge anything, anybody? How do we know what's happening? Yahweh is always right. Always right, no matter what. We just have to think about it, and we can get there. We know in our heart that that's right. We are to be full of acceptance and forgiveness. That's a fact. And that is healing in itself. Jonah was a prophet full of himself, avoiding his calling. He was not forgiving. Not in any way. Ask yourself, are you okay with God loving your enemies? I've had to think about that. I am really. I got to love my enemies as well. That's what that's teaching me. Anyway, our confidence in Him through the Word, our Adon, washes and bathes us. It heals us and frees us, not to the capacity that we get confused and go our own way again, as Jonah tried to do, but to obey and know, even in our not knowing, that He is always right, and His right is always for the best. Anyway, that's really the bulk of what I've got to say. I'm hoping that you take this away and process it and make of it what you will. This is months of accumulation of little thoughts that go down on paper, and I end up putting them on one sheet and asking the Ruach to help me sort them out. So I hope this is sorted out in a fashion that suits the way you hear things. Yireh Yahweh, for loving us and guiding us with so much compassion and awesomeness. I don't know what to say. Thank you for bringing us here today, Father. And I hope and pray this has been a berakah to all who listen to it. Shalom and much echav, much love. Amen.